welcome to In the Kitchen with Mary Mac. Today we're going to talk about peaches. Who does not love peaches? I mean, they're delicious. Oh, they're just beautiful. The microphone I'm talking into reminds me of a giant peach, as it is bright orange. But peaches are just, they're so good, and they're such a short season. The season probably lasts, I don't know, maybe a month. And the Freestone peaches are coming in right now in the northeast of the United States. So that's the time you want to preserve peaches. You can can them, freeze them, all sorts of things. Make them into jams, jellies, pies, whatever. So what we're going to cover today is canning and freezing peaches. And if you've never done home preserving or home canning, it's really not difficult. It is a bit time consuming and can be messy, but it's really not a difficult thing to do. And it gives you such a sense of accomplishment to can your own produce, even if you didn't grow it. I mean, if you can go get some really beautiful produce and put it in a jar and look at it and not let anyone eat it for a year, that really makes you feel good about you. That's what we do when we can. We look at our peaches and we don't let anyone eat them because we know how much work was into them, and doggone it, they're not worthy. So that's kind of a joke, but kind of not a joke. So when you can peaches, there's a few basic steps, and those basic steps are what you would do to do anything with peaches. First of all, when you go and buy peaches at a market or from an orchard or whatever, they're going to be probably usually fairly hard, and you don't want to do something with them right away because you want to give them a couple days to finish ripening and make them so you can work with them and really be good. Now, a lot of times if you get them from an orchard that grows them, they'll be okay to work with as soon as you get home. But if you get them from the grocery store, they're going to be like rocks. So you may have a week before you can do something with them. I got peaches from our local orchard, and my typical rule of thumb is I will get them, say, maybe Wednesday after work, and then plan on doing something with them Sunday. So that gives the peaches, they were picked on Wednesday, that gives them Thursday, or all day Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 full days. And usually they are just perfect when I go to do something with them because it just gave them that little bit of extra ripening time. Sometimes you might get them and they might be very ripe and you'd have to do something with them right away. So you can kind of gauge that when you purchase them yourself. You can, if you're familiar with peaches at all, you'll know. Just by feeling them, you'll know if they're very firm to the touch or if they're slightly soft. You'll know what they're ready. And what you want to do with them is before you do something with them, when you get them home, you don't have to wash them or anything. You don't want to refrigerate them. You want to just leave them out in your room. You may want to cover them with cheesecloth or a towel or something like that, but you don't have to wash them. When you're ready to work with them, though, what you're going to do is wash them, get them ready to slip the skins off. When you slip the skins off of peaches, what you do is you get a big pan. I used my Dutch oven, and I want to say it's like a 4-quart Dutch oven, and I filled it with water, and I heated it to where it was just starting to get bubbles on the bottom. And it'll just start to steam a little bit, but it's not anywhere near boiling. And what you do is you put your peaches in there. You leave them in there for 90 seconds. Then you take them out using a slotted spoon or something and put them into a bowl and let them cool off for a little bit, and those skins will slip right off in your hands. So what I typically do is once they're cool enough to handle, I'll take a knife and slice the whole way around and twist them while the skins are on so I can pop one half of it off of the pit. And then I slip the skin off of that half, pull the pit out of the other half, and slip the skin off. I have pictures of this that I took while I was doing it just so you can see, but the skin actually, you'll be able to slip it off with your fingers. That's how you get your peaches, take the skin off and pit them. Okay, so if you're going to can peaches, you'll want to have jars, lids, and rings ready to go. You want them to be clean, washed, and ready to be heated. And I usually heat mine in the oven, but if you go by the directions, they want you to sterilize them in hot water and all that sort of thing. So I will have the step-by-step instructions from the Ball Blue book up so that you can see the proper way to prepare your jars. But if you're planning on canning them and you want to do that, you might want to get yourself a Ball Blue book, and it'll have those instructions and everything in there right there for you. So you'll need jars, lids, and rings. You'll need to make a syrup. I typically use what's called the light syrup, and that is 1 cup of sugar to 1 quart of water. The last time I used 1 cup of syrup to 2 quarts of water, which is way lighter. But you don't need to have a bunch of sugar on peaches. I mean, they're already delicious. You're just canning them. So make yourself a syrup of, like I said, 1 cup to a quart or 2 quarts of water. And you want to cook that on the stove and bring it to a boil till the sugar's all dissolved. And what I do is I slip my peaches and I fill up 1 jar at a time. Now, a lot of people and companies will tell you that you need to put your peach halves into some sort of a solution to keep them from turning color. But your peaches aren't going to turn color, okay? They're not going to turn brown. I've never had peaches turn brown in a jar, ever. My grandmother never had peaches turn brown in a jar, and she canned way more peaches than I've probably ever canned total. So if you do 1 jar at a time, as you're peeling and pitting those peaches and put them into a jar and put the syrup on them and put the lid on and the ring on and do them as you go along, you never have to worry about them being exposed to the air for a long period of time. Once you get all your jars filled, then what you do is you put them into your canner and bring the heat up slowly until the water is boiling, and you boil them in your canner for, I believe the time frame they tell you now is 20 minutes for quarts. So you have to put them in a canner and kind of cook them in the jar for 20 minutes for a quart. And then when they're done, poof, you have peaches. And if you're canning, even if you've already canned and you've done this before, what I do is I shut the water off and let it sit until it stops boiling in the canner before I take the jars out. Because you don't have, sometimes the jars will boil out under the cap. And if you do that, you never have them boil out under the cap. Even in the ball book, it says to remove the jars, but seriously, I've never had any boil out doing that by letting them cool a little bit. So, like I said, I'll have this ball. I'm going to take a picture, actually, of this and put it up on my Facebook page, but I'll have full step-by-step directions, and I'm going to find out where you can get a Ball Blue book and put that up, too, because it's such a handy thing to have. And it has a lot of recipes in for jams and jellies. On the same page as the canning peaches here, it has how to can brandied peaches, brandied pears, pineapple, berry juice, all kinds of things. So that's basic, very basic, how to can peaches. But what I also like to do is freeze them. And this might be something that would be more popular to do if you don't can. And this is so easy. Prepare a cookie sheet by putting a piece of plastic wrap on it. And then, as I said, you're going to slip the skin off of your peaches, remove the pit, and you'll have 2 halves of a peach. Put it inside down on your cookie sheet, on the plastic wrap, and just fill that whole cookie sheet with peaches. And what I did, I had bought 2, I can't remember what they're called. They're not pecks. They're a little bigger than a peck basket of peaches, which had about 12 peaches in each basket. So I took and did those for the freezer. And I ended up with 2 very nice large containers of peach halves that are frozen. And when you do that, you have your peaches, slip the skins off, put them on the cookie sheet that's been covered with plastic wrap. When it gets full of peaches, 1 layer, you cover it up with plastic wrap all the way and put it in the freezer and let it in there for 2 days till the peaches are all frozen solid. Then you go back and you pop all those peaches off and put them into another container, frozen, airtight container, and leave them in your freezer. When you need a peach for anything, if you want to have a peach with your breakfast, if you want to get peaches out to make a little pie with, if you want to just eat some peaches, just get them out and thaw them, and they're delicious. They stay shaped reasonably well like a peach. They don't get all mushy like some fruits and vegetables do, and they are just delicious. I'll get them out and use them for smoothies. You can put them in yogurt, or like I said, you can just eat them, and they're fantastic. You could even use them for baby food because you've done nothing to them. You haven't put any sugar on them. You could take a peach half out, smash it up, and feed it to a small child. So Very, very handy thing to have in your freezer, and you know that you did it with peaches that you purchased, and I think that makes a lot of difference, especially to me. So I hope you'll give canning a try. It's really not, like I said, it's not difficult. And once you start getting the tools that you need, there's so many things you can do. Many things.
We had an episode about making strawberry jam before.
Yes.
Use the same thing.
Yes. So you can, it's really a lot of fun. And like I said, it gives you a real sense of accomplishment to look at all those beautiful jars full of produce that you canned. So I hope you'll give it a try. And like I said, I'll get the information up to find out where you can get a Ball Blue book. And I'll post a picture of this step-by-step canning peaches page out of my ancient old Ball Blue book. Although the lady in the illustration has a lovely, stylish hairdo and a mock turtleneck on. So it can't be that old. But it could be from the 80s. But anyway.
Make sure to check us out online on Facebook and Instagram at Mary Mac Bakehouse, on Twitter at Mary Mac Mixes, and on our website, marymacpodcast.com.
And check out our store where we sell all of our baking mixes and dip mixes, scone mixes. We have all kinds of things on there. So check our store out at marymacpodcast.com. Thanks a lot for listening if you did, and if you didn't, too bad for you.